Hello, my name is Paul. So the first question is, what is a food swamp? When junk food, well, particularly junk food, but all food is overproduced, overmarketed, and overly accessible, that describes a food swamp. And just a characteristic of that is the U.S. produces 2 times more food than we need. A lot of that goes to food waste. That's a good characteristic of a food swamp. Number two, how could we change the built environment to help and encourage healthy food choices? Well, I'll go over my answers first. I said to regulate food sales, to end the special marketing and incentives given to businesses for specific placement of junk foods, like how the video talked about how junk foods are easily accessible in a lot of stores, workplaces, break rooms, and then placed in special places in grocery stores to make it more visible. So it's the first thing you see when you go into the food store. So regulating that, regulate the type and amount of food businesses and producers can distribute and sell. So placing a limit on how much large companies can produce in terms of unhealthy food versus healthy food. And then also reforming what defines healthy food, so putting on regulations and restrictions on certain foods that we know are both unhealthy and contribute nothing to your body when you eat it, like junk food or empty carbs, so often called. Europe has a lot of those policies implemented that we do not. And then I talked about implementing federal funding and incentives for localized food production. Um, I think transferring responsibility for food production onto local communities and moving that away from giant national and international distributors has a lot to do with it. Um, Typically, if local governments or local markets produce their own food that's shipped and digest shipped and eaten locally, then a lot less of that is going to be processed junk, sugary, all the things you associate with large companies in the food. And then, real quickly, the video suggests some of those. It talked about restricting impulse marketing, restricting access of junk food in people's everyday lives and where they spend most of their time. Implementing standard portions for food prepared away from home. So for restaurants, implementing like actual federal measurements for how much a serving or how many servings of some food that a restaurant can serve on a given plate, which is a really good observation the video made. And then, yeah, standards for regulation that move food associated with disease and put them elsewhere in a store, which is really a part of impulse marketing. Um, but it talks about that again.